So I'd like to talk. The lighting here is so lovely, and it's been raining outside, so let's stay in here. And I'd like to talk about attitude and patience, and how to approach stuff that might take a while to get good at it. I'm going to be using guitar and singing as sort of an example of some philosophy around learning and attitude and patience, because this is the thing, and even more singing, that I've been needing to be really patient with. There's a myth in the New Age community that there's a linear relationship between how much you believe in yourself and your attitude, and how well you'll do at something in comparison to other people. Like the person who wins the Olympics in a sport is the person who believed in himself the most, or who had the best attitude. I see no evidence of this in the world, I've taught thousands of people, but also just in the world I see no evidence of this. I see a clear relationship that a good, playful, persevering attitude, you will do better than you would do with like a shitty attitude. And so from what I've seen and what I see consistently in the world is that there is talent. Some people are, this is my experience. I've thrown myself into more than just poi. I've thrown myself into a bunch of things. And I always throw myself into it. I get a little, compulsive. And there's some things that in throwing myself into them, I really excelled, like with poi, right? I threw myself into it and I excelled. And there's other things like trying to learn to sing harmonic overtones. Where after months and months and months and months of persistently, playfully, and determinedly practicing, I don't seem to be getting anywhere. And definitely not as far as other people who seem to be able to do it without trying, right? So in my experience, I do a bunch of things with the same, like woohoo, and some go better than others. Here's the thing, in teaching poi to thousands of people, the ones who I admire the most, who have really kind of touched me, are the ones who kind of seem to have two left arms and two left feet, and who seem to be challenged, coordinationally, and who seem to actually learn kind of slow compared to the rest of the class, but who really just keep trying and are happy with the progress that they make. I've had maybe 2 or 3 of those people out of thousands, people who, are learning slow compared to the other people, but really keeping a good attitude and just being happy with the fact that they're doing it. I almost never see it, and I admire those people so much, and they really inspire me. Way more than, say, people. I also see people who can learn poi quick with a bad attitude. They're like, oh, you mean like this? And they just do it. But it's not because they have a good attitude. It just seems like it comes naturally to them. And the thing is, with poi, I cannot be as awesome as those 3 people, or 2 people, however many it was. Because I was good at poi. So, which is kind of ego gratifying, right? So I do poi, and woo, so I'm good at it. So and people are like, oh wow, you're so good at it. I'm like, yeah, I'm so good at it. And then, which is awesome. And then I share it, and I like teaching people and all of this. It's been wonderful. But I feel like I can never be quite as awesome as those couple of students who could just persist, even in the fact that they were learning slowly, with such a good attitude. That's soul power. That's what it takes to really change the world in a positive way, to get through something that's difficult. So all of that inspired me to do something that I find really difficult, which is learning to sing, which I'm not going to do right now because I'm not warmed up and I've had a cold, so I haven't been able to practice lately. But I will be introducing, at some point, my singing to the world. So instead I'm going to do guitar, because it's kind of in the middle. Guitar has been coming quicker than singing. I played a little bit when I was in high school, just for some months, and then didn't really play. I pick one up every now and then but I only really knew a few chords. Like I really didn't have much. And then 2 years ago, I thought I really want to learn to sing and play some music. I got a guitar, and what are those chords that I know? And then I started learning the other basic chords, and it was all slower than it was when I was a teenager, but I persisted. So I've been learning guitar. And that's okay. So I hope you're enjoying this. So here's the thing. I'm at a point with guitar now where I have a bunch of basic skills. I've got, I know the different chords. So somebody can show me a song, and it just goes. Well, that's just D, C, and G. I know those chords. Maybe there's a bit of a strumming or something with the fingers is kind of new, right? And I can sit down and I can like figure it out pretty quick, right? Because I'm like, okay, well, what order is that and how does it go? And what's the arpeggio? It's thumb, and then I can, by the end of the day, be playing it. Just the way there's a lot of patterns with poi that I can show you or that you can learn that use your existing skills, and you just need to do something in a new order. You have to use those skills in a way you've never used it before. Then there's stuff for me, say learning guitar, I run into to this piece of music, right? Which I'm like, oh wow, I want to learn to play that, right? Just like when people see me I'm whirling around with flowers and switchbacks, and they go, oh, I want to learn that, right? Because it's beautiful, right? This is beautiful. Whirling with flowers is beautiful. Awesome. So I think, okay, I want to learn this song. I want to learn this. Yeah. So I get the tablature. I'm like, yeah, how did I download the video, right? And I'm like, yeah, okay. And I start playing it. And like 4 bars into the music, I start hitting stuff that I really can't do. It's really stuff. Oops. It's really stuff where it's not the normal chords. It's like more complicated stuff that takes new chords, and my pinky has to do this weird thing that it's never had to do before. Right? It's just like 4 bars in. So I start to get through that, and I start to practice, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll practice that. And then a few days later, I'm like, oh, I still can't really do it. And a few days later, I'm like, wow, this is really hard. And then I start to realize that I listen to the song and I realize there's going to be dozens of these things I need to learn. It's going to involve really fundamentally doing things with my fingers that I've never, in a very deep way, never done before. Like moving my fingers in a way that I fundamentally haven't moved my fingers, and unlocking them from each other in a way that, is really weird and new, right? Like way beyond this. Right? So it's like I'm not going to have this song in a couple weeks. It's been weeks already. I'm not going to have the song in a couple months probably. And this isn't me being pessimistic. This is me because it's exciting. It might take me. It's not an easy piece of music. So it might play like him. That might be some years. Right? It might really take an investment of my time. Because I'm developing it's like doing yoga. Like, I want to be able to just put my head between, I want to, no, you can't do it tomorrow probably if you can't touch your toes. It might take you years, right? But in something like this, the slow progression actually is really awesome, because every little thing I learn to do with my fingers is going to develop really fundamentally new skills, which is going to make all my playing better. It's going to give me more freedom with music. It's going to make learning any other piece of music, but the simpler music, way easier. I'm going to be learning to fly with all music. And so the whole journey is going to be like discovering one little awesome thing after another little awesome thing. And it's going to really open up how I play. So learning something like the opposite caps, extension, flower, switchback, floop-de-floops. For some of you, you're there, or you're really talented, and you already know the caps. You put the pieces together. Okay. For a lot of you who are newer at poi, it might take a lot longer. And for some of you to do that smoothly, it might be a couple of years, right? But don't let that frustrate you, because otherwise, people would never learn music if it just pissed them off that they hear somebody playing Mozart and they go, oh, I can't do that. How frustrating! I want to do it next weekend. So it's important to know the difference. And the reason I'm talking about all of this is because I've run into people and they've learned like different basic moves. And then they go to learn flowers and they go, oh, well, I'm no good at them, I can't do it. Right? And they seem frustrated, you know, I wish they could. Right? And I ask them, and they go, I tried. And I'm like, well, how long did you try for? And they'll be, I really tried. And I'm like, well, how long did you try for? And, how long are you playing poi? And they're like, 4 months. So I'm like, you've been playing poi for 4 months and you're upset you can't do flowers. You think you can't do flowers the way I can do flowers? It's not like learning the 5-beat weave. Learning like triquetra cap, switchback, floop-de-floops. It's really another level of developing your motor skills. So, and sometimes people, they don't know, like, it all looks, well, this doesn't look so hard. And so when they go to do it, they get surprisingly frustrated because they think they're really bad at poi. But you're not. It's just going to take some time, and it's going to be fun. And in the end, you're going to have a freedom that really feels good, and you're going to be really glad you did it. So I'm just kind of inviting you to approach, if I'm sure there's hot shots out there, awesome, but for the people whose experience with poi is like my experience learning to sing, I invite you to persevere with me. So I promise that I will keep like a positive and playful attitude towards guitar and singing if you promise to keep a positive and playful attitude towards poi. And I will keep putting up videos about all this awesome poi stuff, and I hope you enjoy it. And then at some point I'll put up a video of me singing, which you may or may not enjoy. But I'll be happy that I did it, because it's soul power.